Jesus showed grace to Matthew the tax collector and Simon the zealot and Nicodemus the Pharisee and the woman caught in adultery and the rich young ruler and the Syrophoenician Gentile woman and the lepers and Jairus, the leader of the synagogue in Capernaum, whose daughter had not been yet raised from the dead. But Jesus showed grace to all of them, mercy to all of them, just like he shows mercy and grace to you and to me, and to the person sitting next to you, and the person sitting 3 rows behind you and in front of you, and those people who don't deserve the time of day as far as we're concerned. Listen, Jesus cares about you not because of what you can do for him, not because you loved him first. You didn't love him first. He loved you first. In fact, before earth was created, before the foundation of the world, before time began, Jesus looked through human history, saw you, and loved you, warts and all, knowing every flaw, knowing every mistake, knowing every sin, knowing every way you would rebel against him, large and small, knowing that you at one point in your life, whether you were a little one or much older in life, that you would be at war with him. He said, but I love that person. I love them with everything I am. I love them so much, I'll die so that they can have a chance to have a relationship with me. Now, that's the kind of grace that God has for you and for the people of this earth. That doesn't mean that God is fine with us living whatever kind of life we want to live. That's very obvious. So sometimes people complain and they say, listen, you're suggesting that God's grace means it doesn't matter how I live, I'll just be forgiven of everything. Not at all. The Bible's so very clear on this. Paul says, should we sin that grace would abound? God forbid. Of course not. If you were a Christian, you wouldn't think that. God cares very much about how we live, the things that we do, the way that we behave. It's unacceptable to him that we rebel against him and his word and his commands. He still loves us. He still extends grace even to people like Saul of Tarsus who are murdering Christians. Do you realize that there was probably no one on planet Earth who hated Jesus more than Saul of Tarsus? And yet the Lord personally reached out to him. He says, I love you. I want to save you from yourself. And so it's not that grace means God doesn't care what we do or that he just overlooks all of the mistakes that we made or all the sins that we commit. Not at all. Because all the people that Jesus interacted with, whether someone was a wealthy Pharisee, a penniless sinner, young, old, man, woman, Jesus called all of them and all of us to repentance, to forsake our sin and to devote ourselves to God. But his grace is freely extended to all, even to a representative of the oppressive Roman government, a centurion.